Program. Thanks so much for being with us. We got a great show for you this afternoon. We're going to be talking with a potential Arkansas State Arkansas State representative for the anyway. We got a great show for you. Actually, a former publicist for Hulk Hogan is throwing her name into an Arkansas State representative race. We're going to talk about that, as well as more of the Epstein fallout. And we're going to talk about this story where this Arkansas father stood up for his daughter, killed this, basically a pedophile, and now he's being charged for it. We've got an update for you on that. It's going to be great, and the Paul Harrell program starts right now.
The Paul Harrell program.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, great to have you with us. We can't do the program without you. As always, I'm joined by my affable, congenial, magnanimous co-host, Rob Spencer. And I throw to you, Rob. How's it going?
Well, it's going, pretty decent. I'm struggling with my earphones right now, so I'm coming into that. But I'm excited about this show. I'm excited ever since you told me that Scout was going to be on and talking some local Arkansas politics. It's great that we still have that. We have that story that we're going to talk about with the Arkansas father because this stuff that we talk about, even though it's on a local level here in Arkansas, I mean, of course, it transcends Arkansas politics, and the things that we're talking about locally are, what people are dealing with in districts all across the United States. And so it's great to be in studio with you guys, as always.
All right. Well, so we do have a special guest to my left right now. We have Scout Stubbs is with us. Scout, welcome to the Paul Harrell program. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. All the way from Greenbrier, Arkansas.
All the way from Greenbrier, Arkansas. So we're in the northeast quadrant of the state currently. So what is that, about a 2-hour drive?
Exactly 2 hours, yeah.
Okay, 2 hours. Well, I really appreciate you making the drive up to spend some time with us. You have launched your candidacy for District 42, which is that's the House district that you're running for. So you want to represent the people of District 42. I actually first met you. I went back and pulled some articles back in 2019. It was in the middle of a legislative session, and the government was trying to demonize nicotine. Specifically, they were targeting vapes, and they were trying to raise taxes on vape products and tobacco products. And that's when I met you, right? I'm not making that up.
Yes, and it stuck in my mind because I was still a novice. I'm going there as a small business owner, thinking that, hey, I'm just going to go to this committee meeting and plead my case and say, hey, I'm a small business owner. This is going to put me out of business, thinking naively that everyone's going to agree and say, oh, okay, we didn't know that. We won't pass this law. But as you know, it's not usually the government that is trying to put people out of business. It's the lobbyists for special interest groups out of state. We're talking about big tobacco, big pharmaceutical companies. I mean, who stands to lose the most money if vapor products are on the market? That's who usually I'm fighting up at the state capitol.
Yeah, I mean, the tax was something that was like a 67% tax.
67%. I remember that one.
Did it?
That was just one time. Every 2 years, it's a different one.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So has there been more? Because I've been very much out of the loop.
Yeah.
So
yep.
there's been more.
There was another one that was 33%. Before that, they're different percentages each time, and sometimes they're retail tax and sometimes they're wholesale tax. But it's not just taxes. Sometimes it's so much regulatory red tape that it makes it where you can't stay in business. And, of course, huge corporations love red tape. They love it. They want to pass things like that because then it puts the small businesses out of business.
Right.
So that's what I want to fight for. I don't want to fight for just my business. I want to fight for other small businesses that are up against the same kind of things up there. That, hey, our lives should not be dictated by these special interest groups and these $10,000 a month lobbying firms that get paid to put us out of business.
Right, $10,000 a month. Who's receiving those funds, and it's the decision makers, of course. So you think that, we were talking about this off air, you think that this swamp only exists in Washington, D.C. It exists everywhere, and you've got people who are, you mentioned red tape, who corporations love the red tape for specifically because they have attorneys on file, on payroll, whose job is to clean up that red tape and go through all of that process.
Compliance.
Correct. They want to be compliant, but they want to make that compliance as difficult as possible
Right.
because whatever they're paying that attorney, they're going to make back tenfold in the long run because they put this competitor out, this competitor, this small business, this hardware store. All of these places are out of business.
Yep.
And now their profits soar. And so what they paid those attorneys to lobby and all these lobbyists to get that red tape passed in the first place is small peanuts.
Permits are supposed to be expensive for some people to keep them out, but affordable for the huge corporations. So it levels the playing field, in their opinion. Now, anytime an entrepreneur or an innovator comes out with a new product, the government's got to show up and say, hold on a second, wait a minute, you can't just be doing what you want to do. We got to make sure our buddies over here are okay with it.
I also think the whole concept of like a sin tax is always disingenuous. I mean, the rhetoric around back in 2019 in Arkansas when they were trying to, pass this is, oh my goodness, high schoolers are ingesting nicotine, and we've got to do something about it. As if they're ever going to really ever be able to stop. I mean, people have always smoked. Underage kids have always smoked. It's always been a thing, and it's disingenuous. I feel like because they love the tax revenue. The whole reason they're doing this is they're counting on people continuing to buy these products. So the idea that they're doing this to protect the health of the community is patently disingenuous. If they got what they say they wanted and everybody quit smoking, they would be upset because they would have a decrease in revenue.
So back in the 90s, 33% of high schoolers smoked cigarettes. Now, that's when probably our generation was in high school. We didn't have a lot of news stories saying there was this epidemic and we need to ban smoking. Because, it's just not going to happen. States get too much money from the MSA settlement payments, things like that, that's directly paid by the tobacco companies as part of a settlement so they don't get sued anymore from literally killing people.
Right.
So, anyway,
Well,
it's a mess.
And those warnings are absolutely irrelevant. I mean, I was in Dollar General today, and you look back and there's like the wall of cigarettes that are back there, and it goes.
The wall of cigarettes.
That's exact. I mean, is there any other word for it? It's the tobacco wall.
Sounds famous.
Yeah, but it said smoking kills more than murder, suicide, HIV, so they throw they said AIDS. It says AIDS on it, I think. Like throwing AIDS in there. I thought they cured AIDS for the most part, but anyway, combined.
The only thing that kills more people than smoking is heart disease.
Wow.
That's the only thing. Yeah.
Which is made way worse by smoking. Like, so there's probably some correlation there.
So in case people haven't figured it out yet, so you own vape shops.
Yes, I'm sorry. Maybe we should have made that clear.
That's why we're ripping on them.
Well, no. I mean, it's I know there's other studies out there, but largely, it's vaping is assumed to be safer for you than ingesting fire into your lungs.
Right,
Sure.
and I think that every medical professional at this point in time can agree that yes, it is safer than smoking. And so that was my innovative idea. Over 10 years ago, I quit smoking with this product, and my parents looked at it and said, you've been trying to do that for a long time. You should sell this. And I thought, me and my husband, yeah, we should. We quit our jobs. We took out a $10,000 limit credit card, and that's how we started our business. We literally slept at our store, and we built it into a chain of 4 stores. So we weren't handed anything. It took a lot of hard work. And just for, these these external forces, not competition, not normal business, it was, the government hindering our growth and trying to shut us down. And I didn't think that was right. And so that's what the turning point for me was, what got me interested in politics. It's like, if they can do it to me, can't they do it to you? I'm a big Second Amendment supporter. I have a lot of ideas about things, but I just need to get there. That's
right. Well, when you look at it and you say, okay, well, is the government supposed to have their hand on the scale? And unfortunately, we all know that the government is not supposed to. It's just supposed to be there to support its citizens, keep our citizens safe. I think this would be a good time for us to talk about what we believe that government should be. or
Right.
at least that needs to be a discussion, in today's day and age, because right now we've got two different sides of the political aisle. One, for the most part, believes that shrinking the government is a good thing, and we're seeing that at massive scale on the national level. But then the other one is like, hey, no, the government is the answer to all of our problems. And I'm like, okay, I know what side of this aisle I'm on, and I'm glad to be over here with the sane ones, because the government never fixes our problems. I can't think of anything.
Right before we got on air, we were just talking about the scariest words in the English language,
Right.
according to Reagan.
The scariest 9 words: I am with the government and I am here to help. Right?
Exactly.
Or we are with the government, we are here to help. Like Ronald Reagan knew it back then. And you look at, I saw this this thing today that was just talking about, literally how the Democratic, this is not just to rip on the Democrats at this point, but when you're talking about big government and government overreach, it does happen on the conservative side because there's money involved with it, but it is much more prominent, at least it seems to be, on the left. But regardless, the slush funds, the pork products, pork barrel, what do they want to call it? Where they're attaching all of this crap unrelated to a bill, to get it passed. Because why do you care if this happens? Because it, this like, well, what do you mean that you need a new bridge? There's no rivers in your district whatsoever. Why are you approving this bridge? And you're just like,
A bridge to nowhere.
well, that construction company just, stroked a big check to my campaign here is for my vote. And that's the kind of thing that happens. And we've got a legitimate small business owner sleeping on the floor in her shop trying to build this thing up.
I'm glad you said that.
And the biggest hurdle that she's facing is coming from the government.
Yeah.
That is being influenced by competitors.
I'm glad you said build, because unfortunately, we all agree. Yeah, democratic elections are the way to go. We're in a republic. We elect our officials, via the vote, and that's great, assuming that the vote is reliable. But in that system, even in that system, it's just naturally going to attract people that don't know how to build and only really know how to tear down. They don't know how to build themselves, and they want the political life. They want basically a free ride. And in my experience in covering specifically Arkansas politics, what I have found is those state reps, because it's not a full-time legislature down there, the General Assembly is part-time. The state representatives or senators that actually have small businesses back home, they have a job to go back to. Those tend to be the ones that they have more resistance to the lobbyists.
Yeah, more rational.
Because they don't need the money necessarily. They have a job, and so that's always something to consider. Not to say that you can't. Not to say that those that don't have their own businesses are always going to be terrible, but most of the time, if you go down there to the state legislature and you're now dependent on that $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year salary, and now you've got to get reelected every year, that is now a liability. And now you have a soft spot, and they know where to target you at. So, and I'm pretty sure you realized that when you went down there. Mr. Smith goes to Washington, except it was Scout Stubbs goes to Little Rock, trying to stop a tax increase on her business, and did it pass?
No.
It did not.
No.
So I couldn't remember if we were able to stop it or not.
This is where I'm going to insert my shameless self-promotion.
Please do.
Yes, no, go for
Okay.
it. You're here. You drove 2 hours to be here.
I'm undefeated down there. I don't know if I'm just persistent
There
or
you
just
go.
very
Okay.
annoying. I don't know. Or maybe there are some good legislators down there. I know we've been ripping on everybody down there this past show, but, people do listen if I make the right arguments. And I guess I did, because so far, no flavor bans, because that was a thing.
Banning just flavors.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Well,
Yeah.
Rob,
Right,
the
because
kids. It's the kids. It's like it's exactly like candied cigarettes.
Yeah.
And if you disagree with that, then you must want kids to start smoking.
Well, it used to be light and menthols. All of these things are like, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's still a cigarette. I know it's a light or it's a menthol or whatever.
Yeah.
And so with you're talking about vaping, well, first of all, as a non-smoker, I appreciate vapors. If you're going to ingest your nicotine and this smell is not going to knock me dead, like with cigarettes. You remember, it wasn't very long ago we had smoking sections,
I was about to say,
in restaurants.
It is nuts. That's probably one of those things. You see those videos on YouTube where young kids and they don't know what like a Rolodex phone is, or, the idea of smoking sections.
Smoking or non-smoking?
Yes,
right when you walk
That's
in.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, and all there is like a little half dummy wall between you, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm in non-smoking.
Yeah.
Even though my table is like along the side.
No, you just don't have an ashtray on your table. That's the difference.
That's right. Because 6 inches to my right, there's a dude smoking,
It's
and
the whole restaurant smells like smoke. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's asking me where I'm from. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. What do you do for a living, huh? Whatever.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So you go down there. You have this experience. You and your husband, small business owners.
Yeah.
You also shared with us that you homeschool your children. Tell us kind of why you're getting into this. Like, what are some of your big goals that you could hope to accomplish should you be elected in your district?
That's a great question, but I want to know about Hulk Hogan first. Hulk Hogan is in the title of this video.
Oh,
okay?
that's right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Scout is the a former publicist for Hulk Hogan. So Scout, take it away.
Yeah, brother.
Life story time.
Can we interview
No.
Hulk Hogan? Can you call Hulk?
Is that why you called me?
Maybe.
You're a gateway to Hogan for us, and our childhood fantasies are, from Saturday morning wrestling. Even though
I want to ask him about that speech he gave at the Republican National Convention.
Oh yeah,
that was
ripped off the shirt.
That was
was
awesome.
incredible.
CNN and MSNBC wanted to make fun of him for but you have to admit it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan,
100% it was.
Anyway,
brother. Okay, go ahead. Tell us about Hulk Hogan, Publicist.
Well,
job.
to get there, I have to segue. Okay, I lived in Nashville because I was going to college in Nashville while I was pursuing my music career. I was a singer in high school. Claim to fame, I opened for Merle Haggard one time, but
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
that-
Yes. Good grief! I want
sorry.
to start writing your resume
know.
down. Like, do you think one person could have done all of this? Yes.
So I went to Nashville and went to school, and the first job out of college, I was working as a publicist at TNA Wrestling, Total Nonstop
Yeah,
Action
I remember
Wrestling.
that.
Yeah, yep. So on our roster at the time, we had Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and AJ Styles. And of course, whenever I tell my biography, that's what sticks out.
Yeah.
Especially with Paul here. He's
Yeah.
a big fan.
Yeah. I
Whoa!
Yeah, I do have
Well,
the Ric Flair stories are crazier
Yeah.
than the Hogan stories.
I follow him on Twitter. He's or X. I follow him on X. He is. I love him. He's still going, man.
Yeah.
He's still going.
So, what did all that entail? Well, when you're a publicist.
So it's not as exciting as it sounds. I worked in an office in Nashville, and I ran publicity for our touring events. So I would contact each place, each city that we were visiting. I would get in touch with the local media there and try to get interviews set up, things like that. So
Yeah.
free marketing essentially
Sure.
is what I was doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know State Representative Duffield from Russellville? He used to be a wrestler.
I know that, but I know him completely unrelated to wrestling. If you can believe that, we had no idea about each other's past. I didn't know. We were working together on a bill this past legislative session, and it just came out. Oh, hey, wrestler Matt Duffield meet publicist Scout Stubbs. It just happened that way.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you set Hogan and Flair up for these interviews and
Yep.
just said, hey, I've got my guys coming to town. Do you want to have them on, your local television station to,
Yep.
body slam your weatherman, right there on live TV or something. It would have been really, really cool. But, for all of us, I grew up on wrestling. That was just kind of Saturday morning wrestling. And, back then here locally, it was, I'm going to see you Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis.
Yep.
And it's now closed. Mid-South, they closed that down, I think, whatever. But Monday night, it was the big thing, man. I'll see you Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
I have no point with
No,
that
no,
at all,
yeah,
other than
I-
I'm just reliving my
concur.
childhood.
Nostalgia.
Well, so
I know, I get it.
Yeah.
back to your question. Okay.
Okay.
Which is what you hope to accomplish if you get elected.
Well, kind of basically what we were talking about is you have two schools of thought. You have the government is here to protect us and to do everything for us, to control rent, to control everything in our lives and make our lives better. And then there's me. And there's small government Republicans that believe that, the bigger the government gets, the more problems it creates. If we can get back to a free market economy, I think things would work out a little bit better. Especially, you're looking at these omnibus bills, and I know we were talking about that before the show started, that, there's so much pork packed in these bills that they essentially have to pass. I mean, we had to pass the tax cuts, right? Oh, but in order to pass that, you also have to pass all this other massive spending
Totally
that nobody
unrelated.
read.
Yeah.
And, that's not the way that I think things should work. And essentially, that's what's going on in our state legislature, too. Not nearly as massive of a scale, but you still have these pork-filled bills that, the title of the bill has nothing to do with what's inside of the bill. Absolutely nothing. And it passes because there's not enough people out there to read them and to know what's going on, to lobby against them, because you've got special interest groups, lobby groups pushing for these things, and a lot of the time our legislators aren't even reading them.
They're not. They're we've got 1,000-page bills on stuff. Nancy Pelosi famously said about the Obamacare, Affordable Health Care Act. Is that what it's called? Affordable.
Yeah, the
Healthcare,
the
Affordable Care Act. Affordable
Yeah.
Care Act. That's
That's
what it was. Affordable Care. She's like, we need to pass it before we see what all's in it.
Yes.
We
don't know what's in it. We just need to pass it first.
And then we'll know. And you're like, what the?
This past session in 2025, almost 1,700 bills were filed in our state legislature. A couple of years ago, it was like 3,000. And I mean, do you think, honestly, that those bills are for people like me and you?
No.
No. Of course not.
And you want to talk, you said you're preaching my music here, because when you're talking about letting the free market determine what's happening, I'll give you an example from a real estate perspective, because that's what I do. Okay, so we don't have this here in Arkansas, but there are states who have rent control areas, really more cities, I guess, that have rent control. And what it is, you're telling the landlord, the property owner, what they can and can't charge, okay? And you say, okay, well then why don't you just let that go to the free market? And you're like, well, because we have a housing shortage. And the landlord will just keep raising the price because somebody will pay it, because they have to have a place to live. And then you say, why do we have a housing shortage?
Yeah.
Because of government regulation.
Interference.
So government creates this problem. And even on the local level here in Arkansas, when you building permits, a building should be safe. It should have a good structure. I'm good with checking it and having some inspections. But when I open a business and I have to pay $800 for a permit to put the sign on the building, I have to pay for an $800 permit to put the sign on the building.
Not for the sign.
Not
permit.
for the sign.
Yeah.
Haven't even paid for the sign. The sign was only $850, and I had to pay $800 for the permit to put it on there. And you're like, how does that make sense? Like, where is this money going? And it's to pay people in the permit office.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here?
This is more of those barriers to small business that exist to, employ somebody in the permit office, yes, but it's also to protect the interests of these huge corporations that can afford it.
That's exactly
An $800 permit to them is nothing.
Oh, yeah. It's nothing. And you look at it and you say, all right, well, if we want to encourage building, all right, well, then let's make this zoning process a little bit easier. Let's not make someone... Now, I'm not saying that we need to be putting apartments next to, this really fancy high property value subdivision or something like that, but there are tons of available plots here in the state of Arkansas where someone could build an apartment complex and you could make it as affordable as possible on them, right? And then the market will determine that rent. When you don't have to set any sort of rent control pricing on all of that stuff, because the market, if they ask $1,000 a month for this 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and they're not getting it, what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to lower the price of this.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand. And if there is more supply, that will bring the price down, okay? Because the demand is always going to be there. We're not going to stop having babies anytime soon. We're going to keep, well, for the most part, we're going to keep replenishing our population. So I just wish that those people would look at it and say that government is the problem in the first place, and then government is coming in trying to solve the problem. Now, I'm giving you this that's related to housing, but this could go for a million different things here
Absolutely.
in the state. And I hope you get in there. And if you get in there and are able to solve some of this stuff, like why the heck do we need 3,000 bills? Because you're trying to solve a problem that you probably created in the first place.
Yes.
Well,
And a lot of time, we're trying to legislate things that we don't understand. We're trying to legislate a product that we don't understand, and we're not consulting the businesses who produce those products.
Yeah.
We're consulting their competitors,
Right.
or the people that are trying to put them out of business. And I just don't think that's good policy. I don't think that's how the government should work. I'm a constitutionalist. The Constitution is there to protect life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. The Bill of Rights, it does not grant me rights. It restricts the government from hindering those
Exactly.
rights. We need to come at that. We need to come at things through that lens. We need to get back to basics. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
I would say I absolutely agree. I think I just threw your district up there just for a second because I wanted people to kind of know where it was. But I don't know if it's actually translating enough. It may be kind of small. But for our Arkansas audience, you guys know where Greenbrier is in the south there. This is District
Just north
42.
of Conway.
Scouts running for that. Just north of Conway, going all the way up to Fairfield Bay into beautiful Greer's Ferry Lake.
Yeah, my father-in-law, he has a lake house there.
It's quite a large, pretty rural district.
The way they draw the lines is by population. And so 31,000 people in Conway might be half of the town. But for me, it's a more rural district. And so to get 31,000 people, you have to draw the lines a little bit bigger. And they are wonky. The way they drew them a few years back, it's a little wonky and hard to understand. But
Yeah, it looks like maybe half of Quitman is in it, or I don't know. Like,
the
how does that
entire
work?
city limits of Quitman.
Okay.
But once you get to the edge of the city limits, then that's another district.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And they change them every 10 years with the census, just like they reapportion, Congress every 10 years as well.
so Greenbrier, we talked about this off air, is your largest populated area there. Do you happen to know roundabout what that population is? Is it
About 4,000 people.
Okay, so
Wow. So
the
it's small.
largest town, I'm going to call it a town and not a city, there in your district that is 4,000. So you're talking about a lot of rural areas, a lot of small communities that would make up 31,000
Yes.
citizens.
Yes.
Whew, wow. How do you campaign to all that? That seems very daunting.
Well, I'm a farmer too, and I don't mind walking through chicken poop to go knock on someone's door.
There
I
you
do it
go.
every day at home. So
Yeah, what do you raise? You raise I saw you raise rabbits and pigs and
Yep, rabbits, cooney pigs, chickens, ducks.
Okay, what's a cooney
guineas.
pig?
Okay, it's a smaller pig that can be raised on pasture. So they're not the huge commercial hogs, but I don't have to feed them out. So they can just live out in my fields and on my
What-
6 acres.
What do they go? Excuse my ignorance here. You send them to slaughter? Or do they?
Are they
do.
good? Are they
you
good
get-
to eat? That's
Yeah,
what
Yes.
so you get
yes.
some bacon out of there.
Lots of fat on them, and
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
best part of any pork is a lot of fat.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
All right, I like it. All right, you guys want to get into the news a little bit?
Let's do it.
All right, here we
Let's do
go.
it.
All right, so we finally got an update here. Interesting story here out of Arkansas is the details of somebody by the name of Aaron Spencer. Aaron Spencer.
No relation to Rob Spencer
no
here.
relation to you, to the Spencer. we
Although
have
I would
in
not
studio.
be ashamed. He seems like a stand-up guy.
Yeah. So essentially, you have this guy, this father, Aaron Spencer, that shoots and kills his daughter's groomer / molester, and then now he's charged with second-degree murder. The prosecutor in the case, the judge in the case, has put a gag order out, and it's only been lifted in the last couple of weeks. Or
By
maybe
the
towards
Arkansas Supreme Court.
The Arkansas Supreme Court said you can't do this gag order. Okay, so now we actually have more detail. Matt Campbell over the Arkansas Times writes this, and we can talk about it. After the Arkansas Supreme Court ordered the files the court files be made public, we now have a clearer picture of what happened the night Aaron Spencer killed Michael Fossler, a Lonoke County man who had previously been arrested and charged with sexual offenses against Spencer's teenage daughter. The court records had been sealed pursuant to a broad gag order from Circuit Judge Barbara Elmore, but last month the Arkansas Supreme Court struck down the gag order and criticized Elmore's actions. According to records obtained by the Arkansas Times, Spencer initially called 911 just after 1 a.m. on October 8, 2024, to report his 13-year-old daughter missing. Spencer told police he'd been awakened by his dog barking, went to his daughter's bedroom to check on her, and saw she was missing. He said he suspected she was with Fossler, 67, who had been arrested in July and charged with 43 counts, including sexual assault of a minor and internet stalking of a child, related to Fossler's pursuit of Spencer's then 13-year-old daughter.
Gosh.
The arrest affidavit for Spencer says he went to look for his daughter and Fossler after calling 911 the first time. The Lonoke County Sheriff's Office contacted Cabot Police to ask them to check a specific address. Prior to hearing back from Cabot Police, however, 911 dispatch got a second call from Spencer, who said he had located the man who kidnapped his daughter and his daughter, but that Fossler was dead on the side of the road and that he had no choice. The affidavit contains Spencer's recounting of how the deadly interaction unfolded. Spencer saw Fossler's white Ford F-150 turn onto Highway 236 East toward Fossler's home. He turned around and chased after Fossler's vehicle, flashing his lights and honking his horn to get Fossler to pull over. When the two vehicles arrived at the intersection of Highway 236 East and 13 North, Spencer rammed his truck into the rear of Fossler's, sending the F-150 into the ditch. The affidavit continues, quote, Spencer then stated that he exited his vehicle with his firearm in hand and ordered Fossler out of his vehicle and to lay down in the ditch. Spencer stated that he observed his daughter trying to exit the passenger side of the vehicle, but it appeared that Fossler had grabbed her and stopped her from getting out. Spencer then stated that Fossler exited his vehicle and had something in his hand, but Spencer did not know what it was. Spencer stated that Fossler then lunged towards him, saying, F you. Spencer stated that he then opened fire on Fossler, emptying his weapon before jumping on top of Fossler and pistol whipping him. Spencer then stated that he got his daughter out of the vehicle and returned to his truck, where he reloaded his weapon and called 911. It's my kind of guy right there.
Yeah.
According to the police report, Spencer shot Fossler in the chest, arms, and abdomen with a Glock 19 Gen 4 pistol. The report does not say how many times each body part was hit, though a standard magazine for a Glock 19 holds 15 rounds. Matt Campbell goes on reporting regarding the pistol whipping of Fossler. The report notes that there was blood on the outside of the weapon when police recovered it. Spencer bonded out of the Lonoke County Jail the following day. The case quickly drew attention from both inside Arkansas and beyond. On November 27th, prosecutors charged Spencer with second-degree murder and commission of a felony with a firearm. That same day, Spencer's attorneys Aaron Castellanelli and Michael Kaiser issued a statement calling Spencer a decorated war hero who protected his country and a loving father whose heroic action protected his family. They said Fossler repeatedly violated his child and kidnapped her in the dark of night to continue his assaults on her. The statement criticized prosecutors for bringing charges against Spencer at all, accused prosecutors of perpetuating these horrors instead of protecting legitimate victims and punishing true criminal offenders, and thanked those who had voiced their outrage over the treatment, Aaron, his child, and the rest of the family, and all that they have suffered. So what we know now is a little bit clearer picture of his side of the story, and we also still know that the prosecutors are still continuing these charges, and he goes to trial towards the end of September. So
is he out on bond? Do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe he's out. So I mean, here's the question for the audience. Here's the question for all of you: Was this justified? If you were in this father's shoes, could you see yourself doing the same thing? Let's start with another father in the room. Let's start with you, Rob.
Well, let's give the Cliff's Notes versions of this story. Okay, last year, 2024, this guy, 60. Does he give his age? Something
67.
67-year-old dude starts grooming Aaron Spencer's daughter, who was 13 at the time, 12 or 13 years old. He's grooming her. How he's grooming her, we don't really know. Is he contacting her on social media? All of that stuff. but he's grooming her, and he is arrested for some sort of sexual contact with this daughter. Okay.
40, I think it says 43 counts is what he's charged.
43 counts, right? So this could be sending her nude images. This could actually be sexual contact. Maybe they even had intercourse, or he raped. That would be intercourse. That implies consent. But he's raped this child. I don't know. But regardless, suffice it to say, he's out on bond. He then contacts her again. Undoubtedly, there was a violation there of the order of protection. And he has contacted her again, and the father, Aaron Spencer, is awakened in the middle of the night by the barking dog, finds out that his daughter is missing. Dude knows what's up, because they know that he's out on bond. So dude knows what's up. He's now going and looking. He sees this guy's, is it Kessler, Hostler, what was his name? The dead perp.
Fossler?
Yeah, Fossler. Yeah.
Fossler.
Sees
Yeah.
Michael Fossler's truck.
Sees Michael Fossler's truck. He's flashing him, trying to get him to pull over. Won't pull over. Runs him off the road. Sees that his daughter's in there. She's trying to get out. Fossler stops it. Then he gets out. He's got something in his hand. Lunges at him. Cusses at him. And he's DRT. He's dead right there. Okay. I want to buy that man a steak. I want to shake his hand. I want to wear his T-shirt. If he's got something, some kind of slogan, something, I want to wear it around. He's my hero. As a father of an 11-year-old daughter who would snap, I would lose my mind, okay, if something were to happen to her and be a victim of a sexual predator. So I say bravo. If any version of this is correct, I say bravo, good. And as a Christian, it struggles for me to say stuff like this, but that man is better off not breathing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's no passivity or passivity here at all. From a Christian standpoint, just because we're called to protect the innocent, and we're called to destroy the wicked in cases like this. So I cannot imagine a jury actually convicting this man. But the bigger question is, why was this Fossler guy arrested and then let loose to do this? And that may be why. I mean, is that why they're prosecuting this guy? Because now the state looks like they're incompetent.
You took matters into your own hands here.
Yeah,
we were handling it.
Yeah, but you weren't. You let him back out on the street, and actually you put me into this position because he actually groomed my daughter to get her to come out of the house, or however she came out of the house.
I would imagine that she willingly went and got into his vehicle. I may be totally wrong, and if his family sees this or something, please don't be offended by my assumption on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't
No,
matter.
not at all.
Because she's a child.
She's
Yeah.
a child, right.
What do you think, Scout?
Oh, yeah. I just hope they don't try to move the venue or anything like that for his trial, because I'm with you. I can't see a jury of 12 convicting this guy. There's no way.
Yeah, even if the evidence, forensic evidence, were to come out, I hope that the forensic evidence comes out and matches his version, because it seems to me like if his version matches the forensics, then this is the quickest jury deliberation ever.
Yeah, I mean, and even if his story is not, entirely accurate, and what I mean by that is, who knows what really went down. Obviously, the car got run off the road. He says that he wouldn't let his daughter out of the car. Then he gets out of the car. I mean, really, I don't think a jury's going to care. Lunge or no lunge, whether this guy had something in his hand, whether he lunged or didn't lunge.
Sure.
That's at that point, this is a rescue operation.
Yeah.
And there is literally no father in his right mind, I don't think any jury in his right mind could try to hold a father in that situation to some sort of standard that doesn't end in that man on the ground dead.
Yes, Scout, I see your husband's name is Eric. Yeah. You have daughters as well. Now they're younger at this point. but I can tell you, as the older my daughter gets, and the clothes that she's trying to wear, she's trying to wear it. And my wife is very, very modest. She's not learning that at home. She's seeing that on movies and television and learning it at school and whatever. And we realize that at 11, it's just now getting started, where she's wanting to feel acceptance, okay? And this guy was probably saying all the right things to her, and she may have some emotional issues going on there, right, at the very beginning, because what kind of 67-year-old guy is able to, I don't know, but these predators, man, they're good. They're good, and it's a sick, depraved world when you see this. But with two things. Number one, this young lady is going to need a ton of counseling, regardless.
Yeah, and prayer.
And prayer.
Generally prayer.
Yeah. Number two, even if the forensics does not match exactly what this guy said happened, I could absolutely see some jury nullification going on.
I was
here.
about to say, Google jury nullification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because all you need is some folks on there who are parents, who would behave the way that Paul has a daughter, you guys have a daughter, I have a daughter, who would behave probably the way we all would have.
Yeah. I agree. The jury selection process would be very interesting to see who, with prosecution, defense, who are they going to pull? Who do they not want on the jury? But to your point, anybody that's got a daughter, you'd think the prosecution doesn't want them.
No.
They want them gone.
How many men will even be allowed on the jury? That's another thing.
Let me ask you this, and if I can understand if you're a defense, okay? If you're a defense, you don't want certain people on there because you're trying to defend your client. But if you are the prosecution, you're representing the state. You're not even representing that victim. You represent the state because a crime wasn't committed against the victim. The crime was committed against the state, as weird as that sounds. So why would a prosecutor, if they believe that their version of events is dead to rights and that this man committed murder, not self-defense, that he committed murder, why do you care if somebody's on there that's got a daughter?
Politics and career advancement.
And you want to win.
Yeah.
You want to win.
You want to win for politics and career advancement.
Yep.
Which is sickening.
Yeah.
It's sickening.
It is.
So my best friend is a prosecutor here in Arkansas. He's a deputy prosecutor. And he is one of the most respected deputy prosecutors around because he is fair. But he's firm on this stuff. And he's like, hey, don't come to me with this sob story. This dude's done this 5 times already, right? Versus he would probably have looked at this and been like, what crime? Where's the crime here?
Yeah.
This is cut and dry. And I don't want to speak for him because he's not looked at this case file, and he is not in this area, by the way. But I don't see any jury with half a soul convicting this man.
No, all they need to prove is that he believed that his daughter was in immediate danger.
Yeah.
And lethal force was required.
And it's really freaking hard for anybody to believe otherwise because what is it, 1 o'clock in the morning at this point? And his
daughter's missing.
And she is missing, and she is likely and confirmed to be in the custody of this previously accused predator.
Yeah. It's cut and dry.
What is this prosecutor doing?
I don't know. I think we could 100% say though that this is he's 100% justified in doing what he did, assuming the facts are even remotely close. He's 100% justified in doing what he did, and I think the whole country probably agrees. Not just the state of Arkansas, not just
it's going to be interesting.
Low Note County.
It's going to be interesting to see if this catches national news in terms of.
It did originally, when the story first came out. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's going to continue. The gag order, that's I don't understand this gag order stuff. This has happened in other states before. You have a high profile case, it goes national. There's a national story written about everybody's, and then they gag everything, and it's just that's very frustrating to me that they don't want the public transparency and the public to be able to weigh in.
Yeah,
right.
It's pretty sick.
Well, maybe it's what we saw. Did y'all follow the Karen Reed stuff up in Boston area, Massachusetts?
Man, I finally, when I went on vacation this last time for the 8-hour road trip, we finally watched or listened to a Karen Reed podcast because
Yeah.
you'd brought it up on the show. Dude, I cannot believe that story. That is insane.
Yeah, so just to give you the very short version of it, and I promise this as a point to what I'm saying, is that she was accused of hitting her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, in a blizzard, hitting him with her vehicle and leaving him for dead, and he froze to death out there in this, sub-zero temperature or whatever it ended up being. She was put on trial once, and it was a hung jury. And then she was put on trial again, and she was acquitted. Okay. And so what was interesting about that one is that she literally left court every day and talked to reporters. Now,
she even did a documentary in between the acquittal and the new trial.
And they used it, and they used portions of that interview, and they tried to use that in the second trial. So I would say that she talked too much. Okay, I would just say, hey, this is too much talking. But what did it do? Well, her version, because the prosecutors weren't really talking, her version was all that was really going out there. Mm-hmm. Now, what truly happened that night, I don't know.
I don't know, but I am pretty convinced that somebody planted the tail the plastic from the tail light.
From her tail light.
I think that was planted.
Well,
is that what she said happened?
They said, the prosecution said that tail light, the fragments were found, and they were found days later because the ice, the snow was melting, right? And it was like, okay, well, that's a little bit convenient, And her vehicle was in police custody; it was in police impound, and that tail light was in the only blind corner. And the police officer who was taking the report, who you could see him walking behind it, and there's a little bit of a pause where he's walking behind that vehicle, and you're just like, did he just bust that taillight? And we're left to believe that,
And Scout, the story behind it is that this had to do with cops.
Yeah, John O'Keefe, the deceased, was a cop.
And the only other suspect at the house they were at was also a cop.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the idea was and the first time I heard about it, I was listening to talk radio, and somebody was covering, I think it was like Hannity or something was on, and they had some guy who was like, this prosecution, this is an open and shut case. If she's alleging some multi-agency conspiracy against her, blah, blah, blah. And so it's the nothing burger. As soon as I heard him say that, I was like, I think I believe. Yeah. I think I believe the accused now.
Right. So here, let me draw this back to this case, though.
All right.
She was all over the place giving her version of events, and so what it did is created this complete groundswell snowball effect for social media and TikTok and all of these people, and you wonder if that tainted that second jury pool. Okay, so in that instance, a gag order, you kind of wonder, would she have had as much support had there been a gag order in place, right? Well, the same sort of groundswell, I'm seeing the exact same TikToks this guy, Aaron Spencer, but there's more local. It's more local people. It's not nationwide. Like Karen Reed was being talked around.
You sent this to me on TikTok, and that's how I found out the Supreme Court. I missed the story where the SCOTUS overruled the gag order.
Yeah, and so what you're seeing here is all of these people are like, why is he even being charged? Literally, what the three of us are thinking, and so maybe under that vein you can understand a gag order, but at the same time, like I don't like a gag order regardless, because what you are doing is you are stifling someone's free speech. And just because you're being accused of a crime accused, innocent until proven guilty, how are we stifling someone's free speech and their right to defend themselves in the court of public opinion here? Because court of public opinion has caused resignations. It's caused, tons of stuff here.
Well, and I think that's what's going on here. If they didn't have the gag order, everybody reads this news story and it's on this guy's side, and they want a fair trial. They don't want the jury pool to be poisoned. But at this point, I didn't want to form an opinion about this until I could read the facts of the case, because that's just how you should be. You got to read both sides of the story. But
right. Yeah.
There's really no arguing it now.
Come on, dude. He was in his daughter was in this dude's vehicle, this
Yeah.
sexual predator's vehicle again.
I don't know why they're bringing charges. I still am perplexed by it. All right, so we got about 10 minutes left. I want to get into this Epstein story just one more time. I want to give a little update about this, and
Disappointing.
we're gonna first start with polling. So we were kind of predicting this. Rasmussen, Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen reports. He says on the overnight polls, this is just independents only. So among independents, 27% believe Epstein suicide, 15% believe DOJ and FBI that there's no client list, 14% say case closed. He calls these numbers brutal. Independent Trump approval a week after inauguration was Trump +6. Independent Trump approval now -19. A major part of Trump's new coalition are pissed. Excuse me, let me fix this real quick.
My math is correct.
Close.
That is a 25-point swing amongst independents.
You are correct. Now, to the issue of whether or not public pressure is making a difference, so to a lot of those MAGA accounts that were mad at other MAGA people that were making a big deal out of this Epstein thing, Charlie Kirk retweeted Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson is reporting, just got off the phone with the top federal law enforcement contact. The change in approach to Epstein has been dramatic. Expect more disclosures. Some very powerful people inside administration are now pushing for a special counsel and a full briefing on Epstein findings. Important to note, this drastic change happened after Charlie Kirk and a number of other powerful MAGA voices pushed back on the handling of the Epstein case this weekend at the Turning Point Conference. They were met with massive roars and applause from the 7,000 gathered that could not be ignored. In short, our voices are being heard. Power to the people. Okay, so I'm going to say this, and then you guys feel free to respond. I'm fine with that. That's great. I definitely thought Pam Bondi was about to resign in the middle of that Turning Point conference because she was being, bashed so hard. But as I said yesterday, the time to promise things is over because we've just been through 6 months of them promising the files, and then they rug pulled us all. And so this is a problem. If now we're going to be told, we're going to get a special prosecutor in the case, and so it's going to be another 6 months, it's going to be another year before anything happens. I don't know, man. This is it's just really, really difficult to swallow. But maybe people are thinking, well, this will make it go away for a time. I don't know. What are you guys' reaction to all this?
Listen, I'm not going to hold my breath. This is kind of like the JFK files when they released those. Half of it was redacted. You had a big old black Sharpie through half of it.
Nothing burger.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence in the political elite. And, I've been gaslit before. And Trump's tweet the other day, it felt like gaslighting.
100% it was.
Hey, let's stop talking about Epstein. And I mean, it's just not going over well. And I know those numbers were from independents, but I wonder what numbers there are for Republicans that are upset about this.
Let me find them.
Yeah, because, Trump said it best. I mean, 35% of the country, the loyal Democrats who will never vote, they're loving this, right? They're dancing a jig, to this infighting. But I've commented several times. I'm just like, when they're like, oh yeah, they'll blame anybody but Trump. But I just like, well, what does that say for us conservatives at this point? We're not just going to follow the leader. You constantly accuse us of being in a cult. We're not just following the leader.
Right.
There's a huge dissension here between some of us that want to move on and some of us that are saying, whoa, no, children were raped here. We're not going to move on.
That's right. Here are the Republican numbers. Republicans, only 33% of Republicans believe Epstein killed himself. 27% believe FBI and DOJ that there is no list, and 20% say case closed.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's still really low numbers.
So
really
less,
bad.
Way significantly less than half of us Republicans, whatever the correct grammar is there, less than half of us, less than a quarter of us, less than a fifth of us believe
the
government's version of events. Not good.
Okay.
When we're in power.
Now, you say that the Democrats are dancing and doing a jig. Yes, but imagine these numbers when everybody was being gaslit over COVID. And the numbers from Rasmussen for saying, yeah, the Democrats are just, I believe all this COVID nonsense. Yeah.
I
mean, at least we're asking questions. At least those numbers tell me something.
There were people, you had grandparents wearing full body bags, trash bags, hugging their grandchildren. And I'm like, turn off CNN.
Yeah.
You have lost your minds, folks.
That's like a whole nother show.
Oh my gosh!
About
don't get me started
everything that said. Years on the radio preaching about, government overreach and tyranny just around the corner, and I was right.
Yeah,
I didn't quite expect it to be used under the guise of a health emergency.
Yeah. No.
Well,
but we quickly descended into basically like we were about to cannibalize each other very quickly.
Somebody said if that was a test case to decide how easily the government can control us, we failed miserably.
Scary.
Yeah. But back to the point here, if you listen to Charlie Kirk yesterday, it was obvious that Charlie Kirk received a phone call after his Turning Point USA. It's honestly, if Trump and Bondi and them could do this over again, they would have waited until after Turning Point USA's event, because Charlie Kirk speaks for a lot of individuals out there, especially when you realize his coalition is young voters that came out in droves for Trump, as pushing against this liberal mindset that they were indoctrinated with on the college campuses to put Trump in office. And so Charlie Kirk is a big part of that. And you had Megyn Kelly, you had Laura Ingraham, you had Tucker Carlson, you had all of these people on the stage at Turning Point who were absolutely against the administration on this and saying Pam Bondi's got to go. This is a big deal. Quit trying to sugarcoat this. Quit gaslighting us. And I believe that Charlie Kirk received some marching orders, or at least at the very least, because he's not a shill. I don't think he's just going to, tote the water for the Republican Party. But
I would say that I think the conference itself and where it went and the direction it went, even the debate, specifically the debate between Dave Smith and the other guy over Israel, clearly the conference itself demonstrates what you just said, by the way.
But Charlie Kirk, disappointingly, to me, came out yesterday and said, I'm going to trust my friends. I'm going to trust the people that I know in this administration. Essentially, I'm going to trust the government. And I'm like, Charlie, come on, man. You've got children. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And it
Toeing the line.
He received a phone call. And it's hard for me to say that because I respect Charlie Kirk so much. And it's not like I've lost respect for him, but I do believe he's not as shiny to me today because of that. And he's not the only one. Laura Ingraham, her show last night, she's talking about like, da-da-da-da-da kind of big thing. Megyn Kelly's like, I received the same phone call.
Yes.
No.
Well, this is what Charlie Kirk said. He says, as I said, the ball is in the administration's court now. It's up to them to solve this problem, but my concerns and all of yours have been heard. Read this. And this is the Benny Johnson thing.
Yeah.
So, he said yesterday, I'm done talking about Epstein, basically.
On his show.
Yeah,
like
I'm
he
done
didn't
talking about
I don't think he
Epstein,
tweeted it
and
out.
it's like, I'm now going to trust my friends, like what you were saying.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. Like, they have said that the administration has done such a terrible job here. Pam Bondi screwed this up so much. Like,
so bad.
The release of the videotape, all that. It's like the worst case scenario of how to handle it. And so now we're being told, oh, don't worry, the government's now going to do an Epstein special counsel, which means you got to wait even longer.
Yeah.
So
just wait till this news comes out.
That's what's
like,
ridiculous about it. Quit promising things. Quit promising things. Either arrest somebody or don't. Let the arrest speak for itself. Quit promising things. Quit giving interviews. Quit doing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because now you've got a situation where people they don't believe you. There's a significant portion that don't believe you anymore. So just arrest people. Do what you got to do behind the scenes. Quit trying to go on Fox News, and become the next star. Anyway, sorry, that's just my soapbox. Scout,
it's getting disenfranchised. Everybody's getting disenfranchised. But, when I voted for Trump, I was looking for a leader that was not swayed by the political elite.
Right.
That's what I look for in a politician, too, is, hey, this is a person that thinks for themselves. And so that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And historically he has been doing things that are best for the country. And so
Right.
I don't know what's going on with this Epstein list. I don't know what's going on, but it is very disappointing.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if the same people that were in his ear and said, hey, you need to have Bill Barr as your attorney general, in your first term. Like, if those are the same people and they're back, and they've weaseled their way back in, this makes a lot
I
more
know.
sense.
Yeah, I posted them the other day. Like, what's the best analogy with Trump? Just, it seems to be an insurmountable task to pick a good attorney general. It's like Captain Ahab and Moby Dick. It's like, you're just constantly searching for this white whale. It's like, you may do good in these other positions, but the attorney general, man, what is going on? Scout Stubbs, thank you so much for being with us on the show today.
Me. I had a really good time.
Absolutely. I want to remind everybody that you are running for office for the State House, District 42 here in Arkansas. And your website is scoutstubbs.com. That's SCOUTSTUBBS.com. If you want to know more about her campaign. And Scout, I'm going to give you the last word.
Thank you so much, both of you, for having me. I really enjoyed this. Yeah.
All right.
Well, hopefully you'll come back. Hopefully you'll come back maybe before leading up to the election.
Oh, yeah. The primary is in March. I should mention that because most people think that I'm gearing up for November, but I'm not. I'm gearing up for March. The primary is in March 2026.
Yeah, and in Arkansas, because it's such a super, red state, the primary is the actual election.
That is correct.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right, folks, that is it for us today for this afternoon edition of the Paul Harrell program. We really appreciate it. Want to remind everybody to go to @PaulTalkShow on X. Make sure you subscribe or follow us on Twitter there. Also me at Real Paul Harrell, at Rob Spencer 43, and look for us on all of the platforms. Okay, all of the platforms. We're going to be back here again tomorrow. I'll be doing Millstone Report at noon Central on X American News. Then at 4 p.m. be back on X American News tomorrow for the Paul Harrell program. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.